Hey folks, Pat that Halloween movie collector, back with another top 10 albums from a year in the 70s. It's been a long time since I did 1976. A couple months ago, had a crazy busy summer and it's been turned out to be a busy fall. But I had some time and I said, you know what? I made this list like over a month ago and it's been sitting on my desk and I'm like, I really want to do this video because 76 was real tough. Had a lot of honorable mentions. 77, just as tough to narrow down to my top 10 favorite albums of 1977. Do have a couple honorable mentions. I'm going to pop up some honorable mentions now. Here they go. A lot of great albums in those honorable mentions. Really tough to leave off, but that's why we whittle these down to 10. So I don't even want to do top 20. Top 20 is a lot easier. Top 10, difficult to pick. So let's do this. My top 10, my personal top 10 albums from 1977. So number 10, released on October 28th of 1977, Queen, News of the World. This album, now, probably around 77, 78 is when I really started to listen to music. 76, because that's when I first started listening to Kiss. But listening to other stuff. And I remember going to my cousin's house and seeing News of the World that sitting there. And that cover scared the shit out of me. It really did. With the big iron beast. And you got he's holding a person and they're bleeding and everything. It was just scared the shit out of me, that cover. But listen to it and love everything about that album. I mean, of course, it starts with, the anthemic "We Are the Champions" and "We Will Rock You." But there's so many other great songs on there too. "Sheer Heart Attack's" another one of my favorites. "Fight from the Inside." Great tunes on here. I love Queen. I'm not over the moon about them. I do like a lot of their albums, but at this time, the album cover more than anything really sucked me in. And over the years, of course, I've become a huge Queen fan. Everybody loves Queen. How could you not? I mean, I'm a guitar player, one of the tastiest guitar players on the planet in Brian May. And Lord knows we lost the great Freddie Mercury way too young. How much more he could have given us. It would have been amazing. So that's my number 10, Queen, News of the World. My number 9, released on March 21st, 1977, AC/DC's Let There Be Rock. Yeah. Now, there's two camps with AC/DC. Are you a Bon Scott guy? Are you a Brian Johnson guy? I mean, I love both. Don't get me wrong. I have the same feelings about many other bands that start out with another singer that you really liked, and they then got another singer that you liked as well. But I love me some Bon Scott. Early Bon Scott. I love the more bluesier sound, and he just had I just loved his voice, just the way it just a high pitched voice. He had like the perfect rock and roll voice and the perfect rock and roll persona, and unfortunately, that's what did him in, and we lost him way too young as well. Extremely young. So for me, Let There Be Rock, great songs on here. Bad Boy Boogie, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be, Overdose. I mean, it's just stripped down, raw rock and roll, and it's my number 9. How could you not love it? Okay, my number 8. Now, this is where it's going to get different. I've mentioned on these, I have a very eclectic taste in music. I love every genre of music. Not rap, but I love pretty much all genres of music. So starting in 1977, we're going to start seeing a lot of punk stuff because I got delved into punk rock. I was a skateboarder and I love me some punk rock. And if you're a fan of punk rock, you got to be a fan of my number 8, released on November 4th, 1977, The Ramones' Rocket to Russia. Now, love me the Ramones. I mean, I love a lot of the early punk rock bands. I like the British punk and American punk. That whole scene that sprouted up in obviously in London, as well as the New York scene, and the LA scene of punk rock too. As we go forward, you'll see a lot more of that stuff. But love me the Ramones. I mean, this album. Now this is great because it's got Sheeta is a punk rock on it. So I remember my daughter sitting in her car seat, and me playing it and teaching her to sing Sheena's a Punk Rocker. She'd be sitting in her car seat in the back singing Sheena's a Punk Rocker. My wife like, what are you doing? Yeah, destroying my kids with punk rock, and they love it. Well, my daughter knows so much. She doesn't really listen to what I listen to. My son listens to everything I listen to, and he loves the Ramones. So Sheena's a Punk Rockers on here, Rockaway Beach, Cretin Hop. Teenage Lobotomy. Just such stacked album of classic punk rock tunes from the Ramones. And speaking of losing them way too young, all of them, all the OG are gone, and we lost them all way too early, especially Joey. Sticking with the punk rock theme, because I told you this is the year when it really started to sprout. My number 7 from one of my favorite bands of all time. Released on February 18th, 1977, The Damned. Damned, Damned, Damned. Love The Damned. Just saw them again this past year. Saw them a couple months ago. Still touring. Obviously not Soup to Nuts original band, but they still put on a hell of a show. So every time they come around and I can go see them, I still see them. They still kick ass. Now this is their most stripped down, because this is the first version of The Damned with Brian James on the guitar. So yeah, the Captain on bass. So this is where it was still the stripped down version, punk rock version of The Damned, and such great songs on here. From Neat 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 to New Rose, Stab Your Back, Feel the Pain. I mean, just such Born to Kill, such great songs on this album. And they were just quick, punchy songs. I love the cover. I always love the cover where they're all covered in like cake, like they had like a big pie cake fight, and they're just covered head to toe. It was one of those things where I remember seeing this cover before I became a fan of The Damned, and I would sing, I'm like, wow, what the hell are these freaking guys all covered in like cake? And I'm like, I got to check this out. And been a fan ever since. Just love them. And like I said, Eclectic Miss, now we're skewing in the opposite direction. Released on April 8th, 1977. My number 6, Judas Priest, Sin After Sin. Love this album. Some stripped down 70s heavy Judas Priest in this incarnation is my favorite. I mean, I love everything after Painkiller where they got real heavy. You know, once the drums just took a 360 and just started, and they just went real heavy. But the 70s Priest, you know, oh God, I love this album. Dissident Aggressor is probably one of my favorite songs ever. Last Rose of Summer, Starbreaker. You also have the Joan Baez cover on here, Diamonds and Rust, which I always thought was a very odd choice to do a cover of a Joan Baez song, but they do it well. So yeah, this is just stripped down metal. And before they got too heavy, which is not a bad thing because I love all the heavier stuff. But this album is just amazing. Now we screw back in the other direction from metal back to punk for my number 5 from another band I love. If you've watched some of the previous episodes of this, you'll know my absolute love for the New York Dolls. So of course I was a big fan of Johnny Thunders. So here you have the Heartbreakers, LAMF. Released on October 3rd, 1977, my number 5. Love LAMF. All the different incarnations of it, because everybody knows there was so many issues with the mixing and all the way they did certain things. So there's the revisited version, revamped. There's so many goddamn versions of this. Just get the LAMF revisited. It's pretty much where you want to be. And you'll get all the good stuff from the classic, Born to Lose, Chinese Rocks, Pirate Love, which is actually left over. He used to actually do it earlier with the Dolls, but Pirate Love, One Track Mind. If you love the Dolls, and I'm sure you love the Heartbreakers. Yeah, Johnny Thunders wasn't the greatest singer in the world, but he just had that unmistakable sound in his voice, and I just loved it. And his guitar playing, iconic. You just always knew that was Johnny Thunders playing the guitar. And another one, we lost way too early. Actually, surprised he lasted as long as he did. If you know his history with drug abuse, it's amazing he lasted as long as he did into his 30s. But would have loved to have him around, seeing him, and there's just another one. Actually, and here's another band. The entire original band is now all gone as well. There's none of them left. They've all since passed. Shout out to Walter Lore, who was the last to go, who went just a few years ago. So all the original Heartbreakers, gone. All right, skewering back and staying in the punk lane. My number 4, another album I absolutely adore. Big fan of this band. Got to see them on one of their reunion tours. So my number 4, released on October 28th, 1977, the same day that News of the World was released. The Sex Pistols, their only official album. Never mind the bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols. Heard this at an early age and just fell in love with this album. Every song on here, from obviously the main staples of God Save the Queen and Anarchy in the UK, but you have Pretty Vacant, you have Submission. Bodies is probably my favorite song on the album. I was over the moon when I saw them when they did, was it the Filthy Lucre tour when they got back together? Probably, God, be over 20 years ago now. was 96. I saw them in New York City, and they opened up with Bodies. It was amazing. What a great freaking show. Love, love, love the Sex Pistols. So I can't say more about it. There's a lot of different compilations where they have a lot of other songs because this is technically the only album they ever really released. I mean, it did have a soundtrack to the Great Rock and Roll Swindle, but this is really their only, well, much like the Heartbreakers, right? Heartbreakers really only had the one album. Same damn thing. So, and of course they imploded, just like the Sex Pistols did. They didn't make it that long, but man, I love this album. It's one of those, there's not a skipper on this album. You just listen to every single song, and takes me right back to being a kid, riding my skateboard. For number 3, going back to my mainstay, my favorite band of all time, released on October 24th, 1977. My number 3 is, of course, Kiss Alive 2. I can't even tell you the memories I have of listening to this album as a kid, sitting in my bedroom, just putting the turntable on and just opening up that gatefold and seeing the center of that album and seeing that photo and seeing, looking through the Evolution of Kiss booklet that came with it. And you had the tattoos were in there. Oh, it's the order form, just wishing I could order all the stuff that's on there, which is all worth a goddamn fortune now. And I could just hours and hours just sitting there listening to that album. Now, mind you, I do like Alive better, and I think Alive has a better production value. The production value, even though it was Eddie Kramer, the production on this always sounded a little tinny to me. I don't know. It's not to say that I don't like it. That's why it's number 3. I still love it, but I am a big fan of Side 4. I know it's not all original Kiss except for Rocket Ride, but I don't know. I love the songs on Side 4, man. I love everything from All American Man, Larger Than Life, Rockin' in the USA, of course, Rocket Ride, even the version of Any Way You Want It from the Dave Clark 5. It's quirky, but it's all right. Big fan of Side 4. I mean, it would have been great to have a full album, and I get everybody knows what they did there. They didn't want to repeat songs from the first Alive, so they just put some in there, and it's just to have some live tunes, which some may or may not be live. They may be canned, different story. But I love Alive 2. All the versions on there of what stands out. Of course, I Stole Your Love stands out. Love Gun, Making Love, God of Thunder, a great version of God of Thunder. So another album, not a skipper on it. Even I could listen to it, both of them, both LPs, because it's a 2 LP set, start to finish. But love me some Alive 2. Okay, my number 2 for my other favorite band of all time. Released in November of 77. I couldn't find an exact date, which is odd. I looked at several different locations, and if anybody knows the exact date in November this was released, but November 77, my number 2, Blue Oyster Cult, Spectres. One of my favorite bands next to Kiss is Blue Oyster Cult. Love every album by them, and this is they're right off the hot off the heels of Agents of Fortune that came out in 76. This was tough not to put it number 1 because I love this album as well. Everything from Are You Ready to Rock? You have Godzilla on there. You have Fireworks is one of the songs I always really liked. I Love the Night, Haunting. Just great haunting tune. Celestial the Queen. Great. Of course, they blew up with Agents of Fortune, and it's always tough to follow up with another album that's just as good, and this is just as good. It really is. Love this album, and if you don't know much about it, aside from Godzilla, go listen to it. I'm sure you'll fall in love with it. If you're a big Blue Oyster Cult fan, just like myself, one of my favorite guitar players, one of the most underrated guitar players in Buck Dharma. So, if you're a fan of BOC, I'm sure you know, and if you don't, go check it out. And we've reached the top of the mountain, my number 1, and I'm sure you guys kind of figured this out because it hasn't appeared on the list yet. Released on June 30th, 1977, Kiss, Love Gun. Now, of course, is it the best album in the world? No, but it's my favorite album of that year. It's got a lot of sentimental reasons, too. That's why it had to be at the top of the mountain. Not only do I love every song on this goddamn album, it's the first album I ever owned. This, when it came out, I have an old brother that's 6 years older than me. Now, if you have an older brother, what do they want their little brother to do? Don't touch their shit. So, of course, he had Kiss albums. He had albums. I had to stay away from it. So, I wanted my own Kiss album, and I wanted Love Gun. My grandmother, shout out to my little Italian grandmother, God rest her soul, took me to the Garden State Plaza, took me right to Sam Goody, and bought me my first album, which was Kiss Love Gun in 1977. Love everything about this album. One of my favorite songs, Hooligan, is on there. I love Plaster Caster. I Stole Your Love, just right out of the gate, just bam, hit you right in the face. Of course, the title track, Love Gun, is great on there. Almost Human is a sleeper song, but I love Almost Human. Just even the cover. Then She Kissed Me. Yeah, they made it from Then He Kissed Me to Then She Kissed Me. I don't know why they had to always have that little tune in there with the kiss in the title. But it's not that bad. It's an okay version of it. Tomorrow and Tonight, where they were trying to do like another anthem, like Rock and Roll All Night. But this album, I just love it. The artwork on the cover, artwork on it is fantastic. Had the poster hanging on my wall. My son still has it. Has one hanging in his room. I gave him some of my old posters. So he actually has the gatefold of Alive 2. That original poster hanging in his room. Love Gun as well. So that is my number one for 1977. Kiss, Love Gun. First album I ever owned, and still have it. Actually, I gave all my Kiss albums to my son because this generation seems to like vinyl. They love vinyl, so I give all my albums to my son because I know he'll take care of them. My daughter will sell them to get money to go to Duncan. So that is my top 10 of 1977. It's tough to whittle down. Do me a favor in the comments below. Hit me up with your favorite. Hit me up with your top 10, your favorite 10. Now, remember, this is not the be-all say-all. This is my personal taste. I'm sure I'll get those. How could you leave this off? How could you leave that off in the top 10? Because it's my personal taste. Let me know what you got. Throw yours in the comments. I read them. I'm be curious to hear what people have to say. So I will be back to finish out the decade with 78, 79, probably the next month or so. I'm going to try to stay on top of these. Like I said, I just got real busy doing a lot of Halloween and horror stuff the past month and a half before Halloween on this channel. So hit that like button. Let some more music fans, some Kiss fans, some BOC fans, some punk rock fans find this and come hang out with us and throw their top 10 in the list, the comments below, because I'd be curious to hear them. If you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button. Closing on 2,000 subscribers. I'd like to do a big celebration for 2,000 subscribers. So make sure you hit that notifications and you'll find out when the next video is coming out and when I'm going to be doing my best 10 of 1978. So thanks for sitting through this. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope I had a lot of albums in the top 10 that were in your top 10. And like I said, comment below and let me know your top 10. Let me know what I missed in the honorable mentions as well. That'd be cool. Be curious to hear. So until then, have a great day. Talk to you soon.
I am talking about the real possibility that he is still out there.